This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharp. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments. I'm going to be focusing on questions, but I have an exciting announcement. We have had such a demand to help people, to be able to help people to gain a path that we have now opened up Saturday appointments. So for the next few weeks, we will be opening up Saturday appointments. Tomorrow, I already am filled up for Saturday. So this is where we are really trying to make sure that we are making ourselves available to help as many people as possible. And so I'm excited to say we now have Saturday appointments. So go ahead, give us a call. The number is in the link in the profile. It's all over my videos. Give us a call and get started. And you can ask about the Saturday appointments in order to move forward with understanding your options. So I'm going to answer questions. So put your questions in the comments and I'll go ahead and answer. So can you estimate how long the indefinite freeze on Uganda for spouse visa will last? Unfortunately not. They haven't announced a date when it will end. And I know has been such a painful situation for so many families. But right now, we don't have a date. What I will say though, and I can't stress enough, is still look at applying, still work on, first talk to an attorney like us here at the firm to figure out if you qualify and still apply. Because if you don't, and a deadline passes, or it opens up and now you're delayed because you didn't apply, right? Because this is a pause. It's not necessarily saying that you don't qualify under the law. Actually, they can't say that because the law doesn't say that. So make sure you are still applying. I know it's painful to apply and then have to wait, but put your name in the running. Put your name in. Like they talk about the lottery, you have to be in it to win it. It's similar in this situation where you have to put your name, you have to submit your application in order to continue to show that you're eligible. So when they open up, you are able to move forward with your process. So don't forget that. And if you're in doubt, go ahead and make sure you're talking to an attorney. You can always call us and talk to us. And as I said before, we now have Saturday appointments. Make sure you're jumping on it because we're already filling up tomorrow. Schedule is already filled up for tomorrow Saturdays. So just make sure you take action, guys. All right. Put your question. Good night. What's the cost for a request for initial evidence? I-130, wife overseas. Give us a call. Let's talk. So this is very specific and it comes with a deadline. So call, let the staff know that you have an urgent case where you need to respond in order to finish your case, get your approval. I need to talk to you when it comes to requests for evidence. We need to figure out what happened. Is it fixable? And then we need to get on it by the deadline. So you can get in touch with us and let's talk. When I applied for U visa, I was assaulted by my employer. A police issued an arrest warrant against him, and he's probably under custody in 7 days. So if this is your employer, I have a lot of questions. Now, yes, assault, being attacked by somebody can lead you to still getting the U visa. But when I'm hearing employer, I really want to understand more facts because was there more mistreatment? Was there a pattern of mistreatment? Was the employer not paying you? Did this assault happen as a result of you not complying with the employer, you may have better options or other types of options. For example, the T visa. So give us a call and let's talk. Um, all right. Put your questions in the comments. For my VAWA case, does my spouse birth certificate, is my spouse's birth certificate mandatory? Um, so it's not necessarily mandatory. The purpose for the birth certificate is to show that the spouse is a U.S. citizen in that case. So if you don't have, it's basically, do you have the birth certificate to prove citizenship? If you don't, what other kind of proofs do you have? That's what you need to know. I did my biometrics last year, October, but still no work permit. Is there any hope? I'm not sure what case this is for, and this is on YouTube. Um, However, now what one thing I'm urging people to do is go to uscis.gov, go look at the processing times for the work permit. If your case is still within the processing time for the work permit, it is the USCIS that they continue to extend the processing times, which does come with frustrations. Is there hope? Absolutely. And we see it every day. That's why we still are here. That's why I'm still working under this kind of pressure. Because I understand the law and I understand how we can use this as a tool to find relief for our clients. So, is there hope? Yes. I would not be here if there wasn't hope. And there's even more than hope. There is the law, right? It's not just about hoping that something is going to fall into our laps. There is the law, right, that we are working under. Now, keep in mind that sometimes it takes time, as in here, where the USCIS continues to change processing times. We still must move forward. We're not going to not advocate for our clients, not submit applications for our clients. We're to give them a chance for safety and the ability to move forward here legally. I don't know what else I should do. Does the SSN work? So this is where it's very important to, so when when it comes to proof of citizenship, with VAWA, we look at various creative options. So, for example, was the U.S. citizen spouse registered to vote? Only citizens can register to vote because, once again, proof of citizenship doesn't have to necessarily be a copy of a birth certificate, a copy of a passport. It could even be the marriage license, because when you do the marriage license, they verify identification and put place of birth. And if place of birth on a marriage license is a place in the United States, that could possibly be evidence. But guys, this is where it's very important to get an attorney, because this is what we know. And when it comes to various types of evidence, a lot of people don't understand how to approach the evidence. And because of that, they fail during this process. And so this is where it's very important to get an attorney, especially before filing. So you can always give us a call, talk to us. Don't count yourself out. Talk to us about what you have, what you don't have, and then we can work with you to figure it out, right? We don't take people's cases if we don't believe in them. What could cause a T visa derivative spouse outside of the USA approval to be delayed, even though the male applicant and children got approved? It could be background checks, it could be processing times, it could be a number of things. It could be the processing that they're doing. In this case, the derivative usually gets approved at the same time as the main applicant. However, what happens is if there is a background check, extra background check delay, that likely could be cause a delay in the decision of the application as well. Okay. Recently received receipts for VAWA adjustment package after 6 months. When should I expect a prima facie letter? So usually within 2 to 4 months of receiving the receipt notice, and sometimes we get the prima facie before the background check in some cases. But the biometrics as well. So the biometrics is going to come within that timeline as well. All right. Okay. Are you able to submit a change of address more than once after submitting? So you should retain proof that you submitted your change of address. If you have a question, I'm not your attorney. I can't give personalized legal advice here. But if you have any doubts that it was successfully submitted, then make sure you're submitting it again. But you should always have some confirmation that you did submit it. Make sure you're screenshotting it, you're tracking the delivery. Are they still issuing bona fide determinations for T's? I know it's on a case by case basis. Yes, so we are still getting it. We're still getting work permits for the bona fides. But keep in mind also that the bona fide determination is a determination with the EAD. So what we're noticing is every day it's spotty. So there's a pattern of them granting it, but then in some cases, if they look at the background of the individual, they may not grant a bona fide. It's discretionary. And in that case that they don't grant the bona fide, then they would wait on the final. They would go on to make the final decision on the application. And that's where, all being well, it's approved, they would issue the T visa and the work permit. So then basically there are two layers of decision making that happens in this T visa process. I have not received my renewal, prima facie renewal that expired last February 1st. Do you think that as I am from the first list of banned countries, this might affect my eligibility for getting the renewal? So basically the ban, they have stated that the ban applies across the board on all, or the pause in the United States. The pause is on a wide range of immigration benefits, and the prima facie can be counted as one of those. What is the average time for interview notice for affirmative asylum? So we're seeing it within 2 months, so anywhere from 2 months of filing to even years. But we're noticing the newer cases are being called in for interviews very quickly. Any tips for those who has approved SIJS but asylum final hearing in 2028? That is very complex. You need an attorney. If you have an SIJS, then it could be a basis to get the removal proceedings terminated. So you need to make sure you're talking to your attorney about this, or that you get an attorney so that the attorney can work on that. What could, see, I don't know. So I answered that. And TikTok, I'm coming soon. So hang tight. All right. So let me go ahead. I sent my RFE 103 days ago, but it started counting from zero again. Now is 7 days. What's the problem? It probably is the processing time on their back end. It is what they say it is. What's the processing time for the work permit? Go to uscis.gov, go to case processing times, and you'll find case processing times there. I urge everybody to do that so that you're aware of the USCIS's processing times, and that you can be able to see how they work. So they go with a range of time. And unfortunately, with everything happening with the back end, revamping that they're doing and all the pauses and bans and adjustments, we are seeing, seeing an extension of the processing times. So go to uscis.gov and look at case processing times. I think if you scroll on the page, scroll a little further down, you'll see the links, case processing times. Go look at the specific form that you have filed or that is pending, and you'll be able to see. So, for example, the work permit, which is I-765, go look at that and you'll see the range of time it's taking. Answering questions about the UCA. Oh, so I'm seeing an AI summary thing in here. What's that? Had my interview Monday, I-130 approved, same day, I-485, still pending marriage EOS. Any advice? So right now it's, just the interview just happened. You could get the approval any minute, but they may be looking at additional information on the I-485 before they make a final decision. I would say keep an eye on it. At the 120 days after, you can always submit an inquiry. All right. I'm considering to file for my parents in Jamaica and want to add my siblings that are under 21. Is it possible? You know, you as a U.S. citizen, assuming you're a U.S. citizen, you can file for your parents. But one thing that is a misconception for a lot of people that file for parents is they think that their siblings who are still under the care of the parents get to be added to the petition. And that's not the case. The siblings, you can, as a US citizen, you can file for your siblings under 21. You could file for your siblings if they're 100 years old. But the thing about it is that their process is still going to be a separate process. That's a minimum of 14 years, a minimum. So in this case, what has to happen is you sponsor parents, and then if there's no other way for the kids, your siblings, the parents have to sponsor the siblings, the kids or siblings when they get permanent residence. But this is where it's very important to talk to an immigration attorney. Are they processing immigrant visas for unmarried adult daughter of citizen? If they are if they're in a country where the immigrant visa is paused, it applies to them as well. All right, let's see some more questions. If I will be late for a citizen more than 5 years, what's gonna happen to me? So I'm thinking if you apply later for citizenship, so you just remain a permanent resident. But keep in mind, you want to be able to become a citizen as soon as possible, as soon as you qualify. Just because being a citizen gives you added protections, but if you don't apply for citizenship within the 5 years, and you don't have any other issues going on that could cause you to lose your permanent residence, then you just continue to be a permanent resident and renew your permanent residence. Okay, so if you are here and you're a green card holder, you have a spouse who's visiting you right now on a visitor's visa, there is the possibility of now doing adjustment of status right now, meaning applying directly for the green card because the priority date is current. You must make sure, though, that you fully understand how to go about it because it's a little bit more specific for spouses of green card holders. You can definitely talk to us, but jump on it. It's urgent at this point for sure. How long after biometrics for VAWA to expect a prima facie? Also, I answered that already. What role can you help a visitor with a permanent residence? So there are multiple ways, and it just depends on which one applies to you. So is it employment? Is it humanitarian? Is it through family? Is it through it? It just depends on what you qualify for, and that's the reason it's very important to talk to us. So schedule time. Go to the link in the profile. You can schedule your own appointment, by the way, guys. So you don't necessarily, if it's after hours, you don't necessarily have to wait to talk to the staff to book. You can go to the link in the profile, go to the link tree. You'll see at the top of the page that you can confirm your own appointment. Go and fill out the form and then confirm your appointment. We are offering Saturday appointments, and this is temporarily while we continue to receive a number of people, many people who need help. We are now expanding appointments to be able to accommodate that. So take advantage of that. Look at the schedule for Saturday appointments or what's available and book now because our schedule is filling up very quickly. Will the ban in Nigeria affect the processing time for I-130? So the ban in Nigeria is just for certain visas and it's not across the board. So it should not necessarily affect the I-130. Will the ban in Gambia affect the processing time for I-130 and I-45? So what's happening is the 39 countries that are on the list are now in any processes here in the US, they have paused them. So they will experience a delay likely in any immigration benefit, especially permanent residents. How long does it take for my nephews and nieces to come in the US? Their father just arrived here in the US, but they were in the petition after over 20 years of waiting. So it's not automatic, right? So if they were in the petition, they were included in the petition, it's very important to make sure that they're included in the National Visa Center processing. So they need to be added there in order to continue their process and to be tied to your petition. So that if that hasn't been done, you need to look at that and get that done ASAP. If you're if the father sponsors them separately, that's a whole other separate process that now starts over. So it's important to make sure that they are also going they are being processed through the same petition that you filed. If you have a case pending, can a father still file for you? It's possible. Keep in mind that if you're married, that might affect your eligibility to be filed for or the category you're going to be filed in. if, for example, your father is a US citizen. Oh, they have reached over age. Okay. So if based on the calculations that are done, there are special calculations that are done. If they didn't end up, if they basically went past the age, for immigration purposes, then he would have to file separately. They do make mistakes on those calculations, by the way. That could be a possibility. It's always good to double check. But if they did indeed, basically age out of the process, then the father would have to sponsor them. If they aged out, it's going to be a much longer process. So they'll be looking at, as long as they stay single, anywhere from 5 to 7 years for that process. Thank you so much for the love on TikTok. I appreciate it because this empowers, this enables other people to see this information. What about citizenship applications within the US for someone from Nigeria? So that is also included one of the immigration benefits, and we're actually hearing about them canceling certain citizenship interviews or swearing in ceremonies for individuals who are from banned countries. So I know it's incredibly frustrating, but that's what's happening now. Hi there, Sasha. Hello, it's nice to see you. Applying while being in an F1 visa, can I marry even though I don't have 90 days yet? So usually with the F1, I would say this is a very personal question and we need to understand more. Um, it sounds like you're on the student visa, and now you're asking, can you get married within the 90 days? But talk to us, because sometimes that can. No, with the F1, you're here for 4 years, right? You're usually here for about 2 to 4 years. It's not like the visitor's visa where you have 6 months and maybe somebody goes and hurries up and gets married within the 90 days, and then that gets them into trouble. It may not be similar, but we have to understand what are your goals, what's going on, what are your facts, to be able to fully advise you on this process. Because right now, we have to double, triple, quadruple think about the advice, our clients' actions, how to advise them on how to move forward in the process, because even very simplistic facts are being construed in a different way that makes cases harder. So you have to be very careful in your process not to overcomplicate a simple situation or something that's supposed to be really simple. Okay, so I see. We'll have to see what happened, why that is the case. If it's not working, I'll have to see why, and fix that in the morning. So just let me know. If anybody else tries to schedule an appointment online, just let me know. And then just call us in the morning then if it's not working. It should be, but let me know. Let me know. When your 2-year condition green card about to expire, does USCIS mail you about evidence they need? Not necessarily. What they do is they mail you a reminder. So, but you're supposed to know what evidence to provide. So I would say jump on it, get an attorney, and get working on it so you can do it properly. we do those and we've been successful at those. So give us a call, talk to us about it, and let's move forward, right? So go ahead, schedule time with us so we can talk and get started ASAP. All right. How long does it take for marriage visa processing to be approved in Nigeria? So you can go to the Department of State. So that you're going to look at two things. You're going to look at uscis.gov. You can look at the case processing times for the I-130 first, because first, in order to do the marriage-based process, they have to go through the USCIS process first. So go and look at their case processing times. You'll see the timelines there. And then if you've already gone through the approved I-130, then you're going to go to the Department of State's website and you're going to look up their processing times for certain like immigrant visas. That's going to be the best way for you to see what the timeline is for USCIS and the timeline is for. So you can call. We are operating from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow. So give us a call. You can also send us a message or a DM, and we'll give you a call as well if you want to do that. So yeah, so go straight to the source, guys. I get a lot of questions about case processing times, but I want you to be empowered with accurate information, and it's changing every day. So go to the source so you can see what their case processing times are. How long fiance visa take to approve? Go to, in this case, you're going to go to uscis.gov. Go look at their case processing times for what's called the I-129F. And then after that, you also have to look at the Department of State's website. So case processing times, it really, while I do have an idea of the timeline, I think it's very important for you to see it from the source so that you can understand those case processing times. Okay, so we're based in Delray Beach, Florida. However, we represent clients in all 50 states and the globe. So no matter where you are, we can help you. Yes, so put your question in the comment. If I missed your question, put it in again so I can see. Do you think the fiance visa is on pause? It depends on what kind of pause is applicable to the specific country. So in some countries, there may be limits. In others, there may not be a limit. So it just depends. If you're denied, can you change your lawyer and use another lawyer to file a new application? It's possible. So I mean, it's definitely possible if there's something was missing, something wasn't filed previously that could have made a difference, then refiling may be the right option. No updates on the visa pause, guys. Unfortunately, it's still the same. Still the same. What I would say though is please make sure you're not giving up and saying, I'm not going to apply, because you could actually be disqualifying yourself from a benefit that you qualify for. So, very important that you still move forward, even though it's frustrating to know you're basically just sort of going on a wait list, but it's important to still push forward. Finally, I catch you on the live. How to check my case number. Now, go to uscis.gov, go to case, I think, check case status on uscis.gov. In some cases, like for example, with the T visas that we work with, they are so confidential that they will not showcase processing times online. With those, we basically must wait on correspondence from the USCIS to be able to give a case status update. So basically, no news means nothing new has happened in the case yet until we get a correspondence. And that's for certain case types like the T visa and the U visa. Any developments on Dignity Act or the Dream Act? No, unfortunately, none. But what I would say is that, we have the elections coming up, and depending on how those go, who knows, the miracle here maybe we see immigration reform. And it's so important to, where we can, us citizens, where we can, we have a say, we do that, because that's really where the changes could be. And interestingly, what I did see in the news was even in Florida, we have now sheriffs who are on the Florida Board of Immigration, or a state immigration board, that they are in charge of now handing immigrants over to ICE. They're now speaking up and saying, well, this policy should not apply to non-criminal immigrants. They should have a path. So I'm saying this to say there is, and I can bet it's because of the sheriffs themselves are, they, as they observe, they work with the communities, and they respond to community criminal activities. They now probably are identifying a public safety issue as well, where immigrants are afraid, they're not cooperating, where they're losing the workforce, some people in the workforce. And so they're forced to face this reality and say, wait a minute, we shouldn't be just, mass deporting non-criminal immigrants. They deserve to at least have a chance at a process. And that is to say that there's a changing tide just based on them having to experience the negative effects of the mass deportations. And in a case like this, a lot in combination to citizens having their voices heard in the election can make a real difference, and it can create a situation where we do have positive immigration reform, believe it or not. All of this ugliness could actually yield positivity in the future, right? It could yield changes. So we have to take action where we can, where we are empowered as citizens to take action, and we have to move forward in every way we can to try to get to a result like that. So in regards to Dignity Act and any kind of immigration reform, that's where I see we could potentially see something happening maybe after the election, if the election yields the kind of results that could make that possible. So you said something about election a while ago. The election is not going to be happening until next couple of years. That is a long time from now. So, and this is where I don't know if you're a citizen, but it's very important for us to understand, guys, the process. If we are going to have a voice, we need to understand the process here. And what a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on is the presidential election. The presidential election isn't all. And that's why we're in the mess we're in right now, because people don't vote for other types of elections. We have the midterms, and we have three branches of government. And the three branches right now, we have Congress, and they're a sitting duck because basically with the majority, the Republicans have a majority. And right now we have the executive branch that is working very closely in alignment with Congress. So we are not seeing any action. However, if the elections can yield a majority on the Democratic side, then we could see a difference in this midterm, because guess what would happen? Then we would have legislation and they would be able to move forward. There wouldn't be any stalemates on the legislation because there may be a meaningful majority on the other side that favors positive immigration reform. So please do learn, if we're in this country as citizens, you need to understand how your voice counts and what this looks like, how the branches of government work, how do they divide power. Because that statement here about the election isn't for another couple of years is why a lot of people don't participate in the elections that do matter. This midterm matters, so you need to show up for it if you want to see the kind of changes that we're talking about, right? So no, the election isn't for a couple of years. We have the midterms coming up in November. So get on it. Make sure you understand where you can, and vote, not only just vote in the national elections, vote in, make sure you're voting in your state, local elections, your town. It's important because these people also make policies. For example, in Florida here, we have a board, immigration board, that's participating and really facilitating the mass deportation. That's facilitated by local people, local elected officials, right? So this is where you need to make sure you fully understand what kind of system we're working with here so you can effect a change, right? Can green card holders vote? No, don't make that mistake. This is only for citizens, so only US citizens can vote. But so citizens, or if you're about to become a citizen, if you're a green card holder, you're about to become a citizen, you want to be a citizen, start learning about how we can make a change. We the people, we're voting. And we the people, well, not me. I didn't do this, but the people that voted for this, it's because there's some people that counted themselves out of it. Not enough people showed up. That is why, because a lot of people are ignorant about how their voice matters and their vote matters. All right. How to get different online account for what you're, I don't know what that's saying. I live in Jamaica. My mom lives in America. My mom is filing for me. Okay, I got it. Yes. Any development on Dignity Act? So I answered that. So in a nutshell, we want to see Dignity Act moving forward, the DREAM Act moving forward. We need to vote and get the right results in November. All right, I don't see any more questions. Let me see. We married and had a child with another woman while was still married and now divorced. Wants wants to marry the woman I had a child with. Will there be issues? Get in touch with us and talk to us about this. It's very specific, and there may be concerns. Yeah, if there's a pattern where you were married to someone, especially if you got your green card through that person, then you divorce them and then go marry the first person you had a child with, they could have questions. It could raise red flags. Any little thing, even if it's not a red flag, I know sometimes life isn't in a straight line, and that's okay, but you need to understand how to approach these situations in the application to avoid devastating consequences. What do I do if I want to do my citizenship, but I don't have my green card? I think I lost it. We've had those situations, and we still are able to proceed. Now, there are ways to still make sure you can proceed with citizenship. So you can give us a call, talk to us, and talk to me, and then we can figure it out. How soon will the priority date on September 5th, 2017 become current, unmarried, adult? I wouldn't know. It really is just to watch the visa bulletin to see. What are your thoughts on filing without an attorney or lawyer? Um, just based on what I've observed, you're never going to catch me saying do it without an attorney. I understand that it's quite an investment. However, you need to invest in yourself, right? You have to make sure you're giving yourself the best chance. And right now, especially right now, no case is simple. And I've spoken to people that have done this, right? Just this past week, I spoke to someone that submitted a supposedly simple application to renew their go from the 2 year to the 10 year, and it has now become a complete disaster because they didn't fully understand how to approach that type of application. The same thing, I spoke to somebody else, the same thing happened with their VAWA, right, where they didn't fully understand what was required legally, because there are a lot of legal requirements it has to be addressed in like intricate detail, and people don't know how to do that, right? And that's where the attorney's role comes in. How does it take? How long does it take to change a G28 on a T visa case? It's been more than 60 days, and USCIS didn't update it yet. What can my attorney do about it? So when I have situations like that, I usually contact them through the T visa unit, through the hotline provided for attorneys. So I don't know. You have to talk to your attorney, though. Your attorney should know about what to do because they're your attorney, so they should know what to do. A date was not written on my passport at my point of entry when to exit as a visitor. So in that case, it doesn't mean that you get to stay beyond the 6 months if you came in on a visitor's visa. And they are now doing it online through the I-94. So you can check your I-94 to see what date they put on there, and you should check it just to make sure if they put something shorter than 6 months, you're complying with it. Can this visa pause affect a case under administrative process after the interview? If if you are from a country that is not being affected by the pause, and it's under administrative process, the pause wouldn't affect it. So it just depends. But if you're a part of the country with the pause, then the pause is applicable. Yes. I have a question. What happened if denied someone green card in marriage case? They will issue, they may, if you don't quickly correct the issue and reapply, they could issue a notice to appear in immigration court, which complicates the situation. And then if denial also results in a serious accusation, like accusation of fraud, that can lead to severe consequences as well. So it's important to definitely talk to an attorney to make sure that whatever was missed, or if there is something that can be done to get it done quickly and reapply, it's done. How do you get someone who wants to come visit you from another country, say Africa, Cameroon? How do you get them here? And how many months? So they have to apply for their visa, and and this applies across the board. So it's not necessarily you getting them here. You could be the reason they're coming, but they still have to prove that they meet the eligibility criteria for our visitor's visa. My stepdaughter lives in the US for 2 years now. She's 16 later this year. She wants to file for her mom when she turns 21. Does she start the filing with her mom and I at the same time? Yes, that's a possibility. Yes, she can file at the same time. Yes, it's possible. The main concern would be the affidavit of support, just being able to show that she makes income or get a joint sponsor or co sponsor. Yeah, so going back to this question about filing without an attorney, don't do it. Not now, especially not now. When will your visa take place after your I-130 is approved? So you then will get usually an email welcome letter from the National Visa Center that opens up the portal for you to start uploading documents and paying the invoice. And then from there, they review it and then schedule the interview. So that in a nutshell is the process after an I-130 is approved. Where can I see a list of the pause countries? Go to uscis.gov. The pause countries are the 39 countries that are on the banned or partial banned list. All right, that's gonna be it for me. I'm going to head out. It's Friday night. I hope you have, it's 10 o'clock. I don't know. I hope you have something fun to do. I'm gonna go to my bed and rest and get ready for tomorrow. So just remember we have Saturday appointments. So go ahead and just make sure you're calling or booking because the schedule is filling up. So I want to help as many people as possible. It's a busy time. There's a lot going on, and I would love to just help you to navigate this very complex landscape to get to the other side of the process successfully. That's what we do here at the firm, and I want to do it to help as many people as I can. That's the mission here. All right. Have a great, great night, everybody. And hopefully, I'll be talking to you in the next couple of days. Thank you. Growth with that quote I like. I thank you for your time. All right. Have a good, good night. Bye bye.